Good, well welcome. I'm Billy and this is Gareth and we are at the Buccleuch Arms garden today. And today we're going to show you a couple of different dishes. Ones which we're very familiar with. It's going to be roe deer. Gareth's going to butcher the roe deer. I'm going to then take the loin out of there and prepare a lovely starter, which is carpaccio of venison. Then we're going to take some lovely steak cuts from the hind legs off the deer, put them on the barbecue, add a bit of Jersey Royals and British asparagus, and I'm going to show you how to make my wild garlic pesto. So, over to Gareth.
So start with the roe deer. It's been given to us fleeced, which is a requirement from the health department, basically. I'm going to start just taking off a little bit of the fleshy ends of the stomach, just because they get in the way when you're preparing. Now I'm going to use all of these bits for mince, or for diced steak. Now I always take out the fillets first. Now the reason for that is when you do take out the loin you cut straight through the fillet. So there's one fillet, and it's the same as taking a fillet out of the beef. You run along the side of the spine, and then it just eases out. And there's two fillets, and then from there I always take the front legs off because they're the easiest. Now, if you know anything about venison, the reason why it's called venison is because they've all got blades for legs at the front, and most people seem to struggle to take them off, which I don't know why, because that's one leg off. And then I'll take excess meat off. Now I could take hours overdoing this, but to be honest, it's not worth it for me at the moment, just to go through, because it does take too long to take off too little. Everything I'm taking off now we would use for either meatballs, koftas, burgers, and yeah, if you're lucky you might get some diced, but to be honest, the diced is what you take from the hind quarter, which we actually end up staking. So that's one side. I'm going to put my finger on the backbone. I'm just going to cut straight down. One cut, and then the next one is all the way across. Now I'm obviously right-handed, so this is the awkward side for me, but I just run the knife all the way along the backbone. Getting lucky sometimes, it might go quicker. There we go. And then from the back I then follow the rib cage all the way to the back, and I just tease away the loin. It's very easy to go too quick and think that you're doing a really good job, and then all of a sudden you've lost half the loin, which is the best bit, to be honest. It's the biggest money maker. So that's the whole loin. It's actually a very good deer, this. It's a very decent sized roe. So again, bone, loin off, all across the backbone, and back again. This is the easier way for me. So you're just using the animal for guidance. All you're doing is using the bones and the sinew, where to go, where to stop. It's as simple as that. There's no real skill in it. It's just understanding what you're doing and understanding what you're preparing. And as long as you do that, that's another loin. It's very easy.
So we've taken a small section of the loin. You could do the whole lot. I've just taken a small section. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. We've taken the sinew off here, which is the gritty bits. That noise is my gas barbecue gas stove getting going. We want this a super hot pan, and simply I've got rock salt in here and crushed black pepper, and simply going to roll this up. The great thing about this dish, it's a great starter, and probably one of the best things, you can make this for tonight, for tomorrow. It can go in the freezer as well, and pull it out. And because it's really quite thin and small, very quick to defrost. And there's another technique to that. So what I'll just do, just make sure, we've often had mistakes with this when the pan's not been quite hot enough. This is going to go in the pan just for seconds on each side. There's a little bit of oil and butter in there to help stop the burning. We've rolled this up to keep the flavors and the juices in there. It's just got a touch of warmth to it. We can put this back in the freezer now for maybe half an hour if we want to eat it today, or just allow that to chill. And because of the size of it, if it was fully frozen, it doesn't take very long to defrost. And Blue Peter style, we have some we made earlier, which has been out the freezer now for half an hour, and then is creating the final dish. You can see from there that what's happened is we've just got the very outer bit has been cooked effectively. The rest is raw. Sometimes we do this on a meat slicer, or it can just simply be done by hand like this. And we're gonna add a few other little snazzy ingredients to make this nice. Again, you can have this done in your fridge at home, ready for a party, ready made up, and that's your starter. Meanwhile, you're having some drinks on the lawn, and this is all in your fridge, ready to go. How are we going to finish that? Just a nice little bit of roasted hazelnuts, some balsamic, and a little bit of rapeseed oil. To finish this dish, there can be many different options. Again, one of our favorite suppliers we're going to use is the Darling Blue cheese, and not some I made earlier. And we'll just simply crumble a little bit of that over the top, and that's us. Right, should we try this?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, good.
You should get everything on a plate,
Yeah.
on a spoon, on a fork. All that. But every texture and every flavour.
The nuts, the balsamic, you're getting everything. Blue cheese. So tender.
Always finishes. So next I'm going to show you how to debone and seam cut the steaks from what would normally be diced meat or a roast, you know. Now everyone prefers a steak. Now deer legs or venison legs are exactly the same as human legs. Now we've got the big muscles in the front and the small muscles at the back. You don't want to touch the big muscles at the front, because that's where your money and steaks are. I tend to use a smaller blade for doing the legs, and I'll start on the inside of the leg, and I start at the knee, and I'll cut straight through, and then just go all the way in until you find the bone, being careful not to go too far. Now this is also another way to quickly do lamb legs. It works the same way. It's a little harder with lamb legs because they're hung a bit longer. That's the beauty of deer, is they're very supple. Now you've got the two parts of the knee, the top part, which is here, and the bottom part. Now you can actually, I've learned this for over lots of practice, but you can slap it off and go round and then cut at the side of the knee, round, and then get the bigger knife and that's you deboned the deer leg. I'll make the next one look a lot easier because I won't be thinking about it. So that's your leg. I'll just take the other one apart quickly. So now the way we break the leg down is literally by following the seams, and again, like I was saying before, you let the animal do the work for you. So all I'm doing is following all the seams around, Now I obviously know what to use and what not to use. That's the very top of the leg. That's the hard working part. You never use that. Now this part is actually quite interesting because you always open it up. Always open it up at what we like refer to as the bullet, which is the fleshy end of the rump. That's that piece.
Is that the piece we're using today, is it?
We will be, yep. And I will take most of the sinew and fat off of that. That's the time-consuming, almost boring task. But I like to call it, with it being deer, it's a bit more like a faux fillet because it's so beautiful. Now the next part, we're going to go through, and it's almost like the top side of a cow, but you do have to be careful because there's a main artery going through here, and you need to cut that straight out. Otherwise, and so I learnt, not too recently, but a few years ago, it actually makes the meat taste really metallic. So that's...
How many steaks would you get from 2 hind legs?
2, 3, roughly 10, 15 tops. We don't try and skimp because we usually get on average about 80 portions out of one deer. If it's, especially this size, because we'll get 10, 12 loin portions, plus between 10 and 15 steaks, and then the rest obviously burgers, meatballs, koftas, chili, curry, anything, and it's a really interesting animal to prep.
So, to accompany the steak on the barbecue, regards finishing getting the steaks ready, gonna make my own version of wild garlic pesto, which, as you might imagine, has got plenty of wild garlic. Good time of year for that. We're right now in the middle of May, perfect time of year to go and forage for wild garlic. All very edible, and gonna make it very simply here. You can make any much volume you want. It lasts for ages. A good dose of cracked black pepper and salt goes in there. Toasted pine nuts have gone in here as well. For this volume I might not use as much as that. It's surprising you don't need an awful lot. Same with some grated parmesan as well, good quality parmesan. Actually not going to need a crazy amount. And some rapeseed oil as well. I may need more than this. We'll just see. So that's it done. What I find is that on day one there is just a touch of a bitterness there, but later on today it's going to mellow and it's going to be just fantastic, particularly for meat and barbecued meat as well, I find. Where right now we're putting this in a risotto on the menu with British asparagus and peas and lemon and this, and it's fab. Right, over to the steaks.
So I'm going to cook these really quickly. There's a little thing, I never season my meat first, I always season it afterwards. I never season it before it goes on anything, to be honest. I use almost salt as a garnish, it's an enhancer, not to make the meat taste good, because it already tastes good. Yep, so I'm just about to take the steaks off. They're sitting at rare, which is perfect. So they've got to have a nice smoky flavour to them. But obviously, I mean, they're still going to taste like venison, which is exactly how they should. Let them rest for 2 to 3 minutes. It doesn't need long. It's not like beef where you're not resting a big piece, and also there's no fat in it, period. So now I'm going to season them with just a little bit of mould on. I never use pepper, not on steaks, and that's this rare, medium rare. Now it's rested slightly. Cooks very quick. Now you can refine this by using moulds and stuff for the food, but to be honest, nothing's refined in nature, is it? So we should eat how it's given.
Right, time to try.
Yeah.
Time to try a bit of wine. I think a nice glass of Rioja is going to go great with a steak. So cheers. Well done. And the pesto. I don't know what it tastes like, but it just goes so well with the red meat. Really here. Goes well with beef. Goes actually very well with lamb. Tremendous. I could eat that every day. Well, now comes time to say thank you very much for watching us. Thank you for listening to us. And we did have just a little bit of sprinkle of rain there, but we've also managed to have a very nice day. And we might see you someday soon at the Buccleuch Arms.
Thank you very much.